All creatures, no matter how great or small, testify of God's creation. The honeybee is a little creature with big design features that can only be attributed to our wise Creator. Be sure to hear the buzz about this remarkable insect.
The bees have been designed by an all-knowing and all-wise supernatural Creator.
This is Science, Scripture, and Salvation, a Creation Radio Journal. I'm Chris O'Brien with the Institute for Creation Research. Chances are when you see a bee, you're too busy trying to keep your distance to consider how amazing it truly is. Besides making honey, bees also pollinate about a third of the world's food crops. Now, corporately speaking, the hive is run so efficiently that businessmen could learn from its structure and success. But is the evolution of time and chance enough to explain the remarkable function of bees? Stick around for the next 15 minutes as we discuss the design of bees as evidence for God's creation. Dr. Thomas Kindle is founder and president of Reasons for Faith Ministries in Eagle Point, Oregon. He says the little bee, with all of its talents, has delivered a deadly sting to the concept of evolution.
Now, most people know that a bee sting can sometimes be fatal if the person has a severe allergy. However, many people are unaware of the lethal sting that has been inflicted on Darwin's theory through scientific study of the bee. The instinctive abilities of honeybees are truly marvelous.
One incredible thing about bees is the visual system that God gave them. ICR biologist Frank Sherwin explains.
Most people would say that the bees have 2 eyes, but they actually have 5. They have 3 very basic eyes arranged in a triangular pattern at the top of their head. Now, these are called ocelli. They are designed by the Creator with a single lens to inform the bee of changes in the intensity of light. The ocelli helps the bee to navigate through surrounding flowers and, of course, in getting from and to their nest. And speaking of evidence of creation, unlike people, bees can determine the plane of polarization of ultraviolet light in the atmosphere. Why is this important? Well, the bees can perceive the position of the sun even on cloudy days when only the occasional blue patch of sky is showing. This is an amazing God-given ability of the lowly bee to navigate without getting lost.
And the bee's other 2 eyes are intriguing as well.
Most of us are aware only that the bee has 2 large compound eyes on the opposite side of the bee's head. Both of these compound eyes are designed with just under 7,000 individual units crowded together as hexagons. These units, or biologists call them facets, are called ommatidia, and each one of these tiny facets is able to take in light rays at the specific angle. Ommatidia are made up of light-sensitive cells. 2 of them are designed to receive green light, 2 to receive blue light, and 2 to receive ultraviolet energy uniquely from the sun. Finally, 2 of the remaining cells are designed by the Creator to respond to different colors depending on their position of the bee's eye. The design of the fascinating ommatidium is such that the bees are able to recognize various flowers.
However, there is a certain color that bees are unable to recognize. Bruce Bowers, an environmental health specialist with the University of California, San Diego, explains.
Bees cannot see the color red, but they are highly sensitive to ultraviolet light. Now, a lot of flowers, especially the white flowers, they're designed to reflect ultraviolet light. And this way, when the bees are flying around, they see this ultraviolet light, they hone in on the flowers.
Bees' vision is also extraordinary when it comes to seeing fast-moving objects. Frank Sherwood shares a humorous example of this.
What is truly amazing is how the Creator designed bees with something called flicker fusion potential. God has designed the honeybees to be extremely sensitive to quick movements. In other words, they can detect changes in visual stimuli 5 times better than people can. If bees were able to sit in a movie theater and watch a film, they would see each frame going by at 16 to 24 frames per second as individual, distinct, frozen images. The bee would get very bored. Speed the film up by a factor of 5 to keep the bee's attention. Bees clearly have visual abilities beyond that of man.
It should stand to reason that the complexity of bees' visual system could not have happened accidentally.
One thing is for sure, this idea of time, chance, and natural processes such as genetic mistakes that we call mutation doesn't even begin to explain the incredible design features of the visual system of the bee. The bees have been designed by an all-knowing and all-wise supernatural creator. The idea that genetic mistakes can produce this kind of sophistication is unscientific at best.
Another interesting aspect about bees is that they are very skilled in engineering and construction. Dr. Kindle.
In the 3rd century, the astronomer and mathematician Pappus of Alexandria became the first to offer an explanation for why the honeycomb is composed of hexagonal shapes. Pappus explained that although numerous different geometric shapes could have been used, only 3 would avoid the problem of leaving wasteful open spaces between the cells: the triangle, the square, and the hexagon. Of these 3, Pappus noted that the hexagon proportionally holds more honey than either a triangle or a square, and the hexagon requires the least amount of wax to construct.
Not only is the 6-sided hexagonal-shaped honeycomb ideal for storing food, it's also what the bees call home. Bruce Bowers.
If you think about it, everything in that hive is made out of honeycomb, which is the hexagonal-shaped cells. And it's used not only to store their food and to raise their young, it's also a place where they just hang out. A lot of times bees are found sleeping in some of the empty cells.
This well-built hive is a design marvel, and the life within its fortified walls is fascinating. In the individual cells, the queen bee lays up to 3,000 eggs per day in order to replace dying worker bees. This brood chamber must be kept at between 92 and 93 degrees Fahrenheit. Bruce Bowers tells us that in order to accomplish this, the worker bees turn on the air conditioner.
What the bees will do, if the temperature inside the hive becomes higher, the bees will actually carry in water, and then they'll take their wings and they'll fan that water to cool the air over the brood and drop the temperature down to 92 or 93 degrees.